I sit in the restructuring team at Ernst Young. I'm a licensed UK insolvency practitioner. I advise clients on the enforcement around complex real estate situations. My colleague Mathieu, who addressed you earlier, would describe me as the guy who takes the appointment. What I'm going to look to do now is quickly go through the practical outturn of what David just described with respect to enforceability options in an insolvency scenario. I'm going to look at two specific examples. One, which was the Spee Deutsche Immobilien enforcement, where I was appointed receiver, and another is an NPL buy-side opportunity, and just how the thought processes around enforcement in a situation where there's a loan position that you can action works its way through. There's a very simple question in here, which is, in these circumstances, in light of the security package that I have, what action can I take? And whilst that's a simple question to ask, it's often quite a complicated answer because you're looking at a number of different factors. So the framework in which we look at it is very similar actually to Ari's time frame and the structure he put across it. Plan, take control being a very key element here, stabilise. I'll put verify strategy on there because often we get into situations where the quality of information is poor, and a period of really digging that through and scrubbing it is essential to understanding what your exit strategy options might look like at the back end. David's done a very eloquent job of running us through these high-level elements. I'm not going to go back to that, but I'm going to start quickly on a case study here. Control in this situation was achieved by taking appointments as receiver and manager of shares over propcos in the Isle of Man. So on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see the underlying asset structure. On the left, you can see the holding structure. And what we had was 3 portfolios financed by banks and 1 by CMBS. The long story short here is that the lenders decided to take action in mid-2010. We were appointed in November 2010 under 6 share pledges on the Isle of Man. The options here that we were tossing up, if we go back to that question, what does my security package allow me to do? It was either enforce over 1,100 German mortgages, so the process that David was saying has its challenges and its complexities, and it was different back in 2010, or try and do something neat and clean in a jurisdiction that was friendly, which is what we were able to achieve by taking the appointments on the Isle of Man. My role in taking control saw us change the directors across all the SPVs in the group. So those who the lenders had lost confidence in departed, new team comes in, and we look at moving from control then to stability. Clearly some of these can be quite impactful processes. What we were looking to do here was get to stability as quickly as we can. That resulted in some quite interesting dealings with the property manager. You guys will probably know better than I do that interrupting that relationship on German resi multifamily assets like these could lead to a significant hiatus in rent payments and cash flow. We didn't want to get there, so we were looking to retain the current property managers. The stability question in this case was very focused around what can we do with them, how do we keep them on board. Interestingly, they were connected to the sponsor, made it more difficult. They were also insolvent, and if you are the director of German companies facing insolvency, they face a very different set of considerations than you would in other jurisdictions. They have criminal liability and effectively a 21-day period in which to file. So we became funders of the property manager to deliver that stability and move through. So appointed 2010 November, data scrub, quite a lot of hard work. To Ari's point, you've got to get right down into it and really understand what you've got. We were on the market in June. The CMBS portfolio did an asset sale in the December of 11, and May 12 we closed the Spee deal to refi the banks and bring Cerberus in as new equity. So if I'm summing that one up, I would say that even in contentious circumstances, here was an AIM-listed defaulted vehicle. The enforcement strategy can deliver value. It can deliver control quickly, give you the ability to stabilise a process and come up with the right exit strategy. And then a quick canter through this, which is effectively output from a piece of work that Mathieu and I did together with respect to an NPL acquisition opportunity. So what you're doing here is assessing, back to the same question, with this security package in these circumstances, what can I do? But the mindset here is to turn it and say, what is the route to value? If I buy this portfolio, what can I do with it? Have I got an actionable, enforceable position? And the elements that are on the screen, if I just quickly walk you through it, on the left-hand side, portfolio loans, but we get interested when we get into the territory, and what we're really looking at is the jurisdiction and the capability of either the insolvency program in that jurisdiction or the package of security that you've got. We move on to security, you can see 3 or 4 different considerations we're making, then we're looking at the default position, and then we're saying, well, what options have we got? And it takes us back to the question, have I got a number of options? Am I choosing between them? Or is it a simple, I've got one route because here's the package that I have in this circumstance. The output that our client really is interested in this scenario is something that they can put into their pricing model. They want us to be able to say, what's the route to value? How long does it take? And what's it going to cost me? And this matrix is the starting point for that set of considerations. There's a couple more columns come on the end, and that's hopefully what we get paid to give them. But those are the key considerations, and that's taking all of those pieces that David put up in front of you and saying, in the specific circumstances, with the information that's available in the data room, what can we see here? What can we do with this position? And that's how that cuts. So the output of this is taking that enforcement mindset and saying, what are the costs and the time frame of enforcement? And the idea is to give the investor a very clear view of what they can do in each position, how long it'll take, and what it will cost.